Jake was a 32-year-old successful man working at a top software company in New York, with a good salary and a solid network of friends, yet he always felt an emptiness inside. Despite having everything, he felt dissatisfied and restless. Every morning, while leaving his Manhattan apartment for work, he thought to himself, another day, same routine, same exhaustion, but where is the real happiness? He had a spacious apartment with a stunning view of the skyline, a sleek car parked outside, and a calendar full of meetings and events, but none of it brought him real joy. Each achievement seemed hollow, like a trophy in a museum he couldn't truly appreciate. He often asked himself why, despite all his accomplishments, he felt so disconnected from life. One day, on his way back from work, Jake noticed a new clinic had opened right near his apartment building, Mental Wellness and Mind Development Clinic. The sign read, "Understand your mind, transform your life." Something about the message drew him in. He felt an inexplicable pull. Maybe this was the opportunity he had been searching for. Nervously, he walked in and met Dr. Emily, a calm and intuitive psychologist who immediately sensed the sadness in his eyes. "You're very successful, but I can tell you feel empty inside, right?" she asked gently. Jake was surprised and admitted, "Yes. I have everything, but I still don't feel happy." Emily explained patiently, "Success and happiness are not the same. You may have material achievements, but if you're not connected with yourself, you'll always feel this emptiness. Happiness isn't something you chase, it's something you cultivate from within." She advised Jake to start daily mindfulness exercises, journaling, and simply listening to his own thoughts for at least 15 minutes each day. She told him to allow himself to explore his emotions without judgment and to notice recurring patterns that might reveal hidden truths about his inner world. At first, Jake felt awkward. He had always lived life focused on goals, deadlines, and what others expected of him. Sitting silently with his thoughts felt alien. But gradually, he started noticing subtle things, the tension in his shoulders when thinking about work, the anxious flutter in his chest before meetings, and the fleeting moments of genuine curiosity and joy when he observed the world without distraction. He began writing in a journal every evening, noting not just events but feelings, impulses, and reflections. These pages became a mirror of his mind, showing him patterns he had never acknowledged before. Through these exercises, Jake began uncovering childhood memories he had long forgotten. He remembered growing up with a mother who often said, "A good boy always makes others happy first." That phrase, once comforting, now revealed itself as a subtle chain that had influenced his adult life. He realized that much of his behavior, his perfectionism, his need for approval, his constant striving, was rooted in this early lesson. Emily helped him understand that it wasn't wrong to care for others, but neglecting his own needs had created this inner void. True happiness comes when you give yourself permission to care for your own joy, only then can you truly connect with others, she said. One day, a major project at work failed spectacularly. For a moment, panic and shame threatened to overwhelm him, but Jake remembered his mindfulness practice. He paused, took deep breaths, and reflected. For the first time, he experienced failure as a teacher rather than a judge. He realized that his worth was not defined by a single project, a promotion, or anyone else's expectations. This revelation felt liberating. Jake began re-evaluating his relationships. He noticed that many friendships were superficial, based on convenience or appearances, and that some colleagues only interacted with him for professional gain. He joined a local support group in Manhattan, where people shared their struggles with emptiness, anxiety, and the pressures of modern life. Listening to others' stories, Jake realized he was not alone. Each story was unique, but the underlying struggle, feeling disconnected despite apparent success, was universal. Over time, Jake started making small but meaningful changes. He reached out to old friends with honesty, rekindled authentic connections, and set boundaries that allowed him to be present without losing himself. He explored hobbies he had abandoned, painting, playing the piano, and writing short reflections on life. Each activity brought him moments of satisfaction and calm, reminding him that fulfillment often lies in the process, not the outcome. One evening, while sitting in a quiet Manhattan cafe, Jake reflected on his life. He realized that he had spent years worrying about the future and regretting the past, but rarely experiencing the present. Watching the city lights flicker and people walking by, he felt a profound sense of presence. He noticed the laughter of children, the rhythm of conversations, and even the smell of freshly brewed coffee as if for the first time. It was in this mindfulness that he experienced real joy, a quiet, steady contentment that wasn't tied to success or possessions. Jake also began mentoring younger colleagues at work, sharing lessons from his personal journey. He discovered that teaching and guiding others not only helped them but also deepened his own understanding and satisfaction. He realized that happiness and fulfillment often expand when shared. Slowly, the constant stress, the inner restlessness, and the sense of emptiness began to fade. Over months, Jake cultivated a new relationship with himself. He understood that mental wellness is not a destination but an ongoing practice. He celebrated small victories, embraced imperfections, and allowed himself to be human, rather than striving to be perfect. He also learned the importance of self-compassion, recognizing that setbacks are part of growth. Eventually, Jake came to understand that life's deepest satisfaction comes from three sources: connection with oneself, meaningful relationships, and contributing to the well-being of others. He realized that while external success may bring comfort, only self-awareness, reflection, and intentional living create lasting contentment. Sitting again in his apartment overlooking the Manhattan skyline, he felt at peace, not because life was perfect, but because he had finally learned to live fully, accept himself, and embrace the journey rather than chase an elusive destination. Jake understood at last that true happiness, success, and fulfillment arise when we listen to our own minds, embrace failures as learning, and recognize our intrinsic worth, because self-awareness and mental wellness are life's most powerful tools.